How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today, I'm gonna show you exactly how you can retire on an engineer salary within 10 years. I'm gonna give you very specific examples on how to do this. Of course, your salary is gonna change a little bit depending on what kind of engineer you are, where you work, etc. You can see on the first line, you graduate with a bachelor's degree and you make on average about $60,000 a year. I project a pretty good first year pay increase because generally you're front end loaded as an engineer. You're gonna hit a very high salary pretty quickly. You can see a pretty good pay increase the next year after that, and sometime after that. I only add about 3% pay increase to account for inflation. Generally, it kind of slows down after you worked in the field for a while. You're gonna get an estimated bonus anywhere from 0 to even up to 20% or so. But I put an estimate around 5%, so you can see it's always 5% throughout every single year of these 10 years. I added a little bit of side income here as a projection because you really should build up this ability to be able to make at least a little bit, because after your retirement, after you're not actually working at all, these skills would be very important. So I estimate about $1,000 in the first year, and then incrementally increases from there. If you work hard at this, you will make more and more money. I also add in credit card points value. If you actually use the points for living expenses, you're actually saving money. So I put in about $500 in the beginning, because in the beginning you can't get that many credit cards because your credit score isn't that good. But as you build up your credit score, you get a higher and higher credit score, you can be able to get more and more cashback bonuses. All the way up to the 10th year where you get about $2,750. When you're working at your job, you should really load up on all the retirement accounts. Just max them out, including 401k, $18,000 a year. It's gonna hurt a bit in the beginning because your paycheck is gonna be more than slashed in half. You should contribute to a Roth 401k, which adds another $5,500 of pre-tax money. You should also add the HSA, which will add another $3,400. All of that added together is about $27,000 that you're not taxed on, so that's pretty good. After you deduct all those, that's tax-free. You get a take-home pay of about $37,000. You assume roughly, I don't know, like 20% tax rate, effective tax rate. So you're paying $7,420 here. After tax dollars, $30,000. And here, I assume you're going to spend about $1,000 on rent. And this is a key point. If you live in somewhere that's very expensive, then you really should look to living with roommates or something, especially during these retirement years. You really need to try to lower your rent costs, living costs somehow. So I allocate about $1,000 to do this. Living expenses, I allocate for you about $15,000. This is a comfortable amount, although it's really low. It takes practice to get it to that amount, and I have other videos that tells you how you can actually do this while remaining having a good standard of living. So therefore, your total living expenses is about $27,000 on your first year. You save only about $3,000 in actual cash. Your other savings is in retirement accounts, so you don't have to worry about, oh, you only have $3,000 of cash. Total accumulated in retirement accounts, like I said before, is $27,000. Your first year, right off the bat, your net worth increased from 0 to $30,000. Now, I put at the very end this 4% safe withdrawal rate. I talk about this in other videos where you can actually take 4% out of whatever savings you have and have that amount remain there in most cases. So right now, the 4% safe withdrawal is about $1,200 that you can withdraw. Of course, you're not going to withdraw this on this first year. You're gonna do this when you retire. Just knowing how much you can withdraw, you can compare this amount to your burn rate. And as soon as this is above your burn rate, then you know you can retire. Somewhere down the line in the accumulated savings in year 3, 4, 5, or 6, you're gonna have a big chunk of cash not in retirement accounts, saved up, and you're gonna be itching to spend it, and you're gonna go, hey, maybe I should buy a house. Well, this particular plan does not actually account for buying a house. If you buy a house, you change the dynamics of it, because if you make money on the house, your net worth, of course, is gonna increase. But if you lose money on the house, well, it's gonna be a little bit harder for you to retire. Especially right now with the housing prices kind of heated, it's kind of like a toss-up. I don't know what to recommend. I feel like it's a little heated, and so you should proceed with caution. So when you accumulate the savings, all of this savings is not actually stuck in a savings account where you only earn 1.05% interest rate. You really have to put this into an S&P 500 fund, a Vanguard VOO fund maybe. And I assume here in this spreadsheet that you're actually gaining roughly on average 6% per year. Now all of this is based on 6% average per year. Now are we really gonna get 6% on average? Last year we got like 20%. You should know that this is average, and it's likely more like average over 10-20 years average, not 1 or 2 years average. So at some point you're gonna have to be mentally and emotionally prepared to see the S&P go down and not sell out. You're gonna have to do this for 5 or 6 years on average, and that's a tough pill to swallow. And before doing this, you gotta go in knowing that yes, maybe one day whatever savings you put like 100K in there, all of a sudden it's gonna be 50K, and you're gonna hold still and go the course still and keep on investing. So when you look at the spreadsheet, you can see that all of your retirement accounts is pegged to the max all 10 years. You can also see that I've set your standard of living at spending only 27K every single year, and you didn't really increase from there. Now even at a 15K burn rate per year, you can probably still do one international trip per year, which is, not too bad. When you look at your accumulated savings, you can see that it balloons up pretty quickly, and by the end of the 10th year, you got $436,000 in cash, of course invested in the S&P. Your retirement accounts, including your 401k, Roth 401k, HSA, needs to all be also invested in the S&P. Your final total net worth, this is not even inside a house, this is just retirement accounts and savings account that's invested, comes out to be $790,000 at the end of 10 years. This is pretty impressive for 10 years of work, and 4% of that is $31,000, and this covers your living expenses and then some, and then a little bit more. You gotta know your living expenses changes quite a bit after you retire. One of them is to anticipate that you have medical expenses to pay for. You have to pay the premiums yourself on medical expenses. I have a whole video right there, I'll put it right here. So now let's look at the graph form of all of this. At the very bottom, there is the 4% safe withdrawal rate, where it kind of creeps up a little bit every single year until the point where it passes your total expenses. That is when you know your average gains from all your investments is going to outweigh whatever you're spending on average. The third line from your bottom is your engineering salary. You can see that it comes up pretty quickly and then it tapers off and just kind of slowly increases according to inflation. However, when you look at the accumulated savings and your total net worth, it just kind of snowballs after these 10 years, because if you do it consistently for 10 years and you don't increase your standard of living too much, then yes, this is gonna happen, and it's very realistic. So I hope that was helpful for all the engineers out there. I'll put a link in the video description below for where you can get that spreadsheet so you can look at those numbers more carefully. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below. Let me know what you think of retiring in just 10 years. If you're interested in supporting this channel, don't forget to check out my Audible link down in the video description below, where you can actually get a free book and you don't have to pay a thing if you cancel before the trial period ends. I also have a Patreon, and thank you to Elder F, JF, Cyan A, Gregory, Rohan A, and Edward B for being a Patreon. Thank you so much, you guys. And as always, don't forget to subscribe over here. Thanks for watching.